So Bill O'Reilly joins me now. He was just over in China, and he was just on the phone with the president about dealings with China, so perfect guest. What do you think of Representative Luna's initiative on this? Do you think it is worth chasing down?
I like her. She needs to get a little more context, though, and I am here to provide it for everybody, including you, Cuomo. So, under the Biden administration, Chinese espionage went up about 1,000% in the United States. And you saw that with the Chinese buying up property all over the country. So the balloons. Recently, you saw the Michigan people with the fungus arrested. And when the Trump administration came in, Kash Patel, the FBI chief, was tasked very quietly with keeping an eye on the growing espionage threat with China, okay? And Patel, I don't know, I don't have access to him on a daily basis, but I know that he is devoting a lot of time and manpower to tracking these espionage people. That's number one. Number two, it's separate from the trade economic situation. There's no doubt that China wants to harm the United States. Anybody who doesn't think that is being foolish and naive. But China is also dependent on us. And when I spoke to President Trump this morning, he was very optimistic about the trade with China improving dramatically. I'm not so optimistic. I'm neutral on it because the Chinese,
Smart.
as that great last line in the movie Chinatown, when Jack Nicholson is standing there befuddled and the cop looks at him and goes, "Jake, it's Chinatown."
Chinatown.
What that means is anything could happen at any time, okay?
Yeah.
So I'm neutral, but I would be doing exactly what President Trump is doing as far as trying to get the Chinese to enter into a partnership for peace and prosperity with America. If that happens, things all over the globe will improve. Don't know if it's going to happen, but I've devoted a lot of my personal time, a lot of it, to trying to advance this. I paid my own way to Beijing at their invitation, and that thing that I did seems to be paying off. But I want to you did a good monologue on the California thing, but you left out some stuff, Cuomo. So the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights is a militant far-left group. It has ties to the Open Society Foundation run by Cuomo?
China.
Soros. So
I don't buy the Soros BRICS thing,
Humane,
but he definitely puts money into it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yes, they have ties to Soros. Very important. So this organization, this Humane Immigrant Rights Organization, banded together with the Service Employees International Union and the LA Teachers Union to contrive this whole protest in Los Angeles. They planned it. They knew when the raids were going to happen. They mobilized their militant anti-American people who go out, and they provided masks and frozen water bottles and defensive gear. It was very well organized. Here's the kicker. Gavin Newsom and the state of California had given the Coalition for Humane Immigration Rights $34 million of taxpayer money in 2023 and more to come fiscal year 24. The Biden administration gave the group $200,000, and if Harris had been elected, would have gone up to about $500,000. Okay, so in effect, Newsom in California paid for the organized protests that the police chief of Los Angeles said was out of control and beyond our capacity to tamp it down. That's what the police chief said, and that's why Trump mobilized. Okay, so all of that information that I've just given you, if people want to read it, and download it is on BillO'Reilly.com in my message. But it is harrowing that all of this is taking place and the American public has no blanket idea because the only one reporting it is NewsNation. You're not going to see it in the LA Times or on ABC News or on Fox News or any of those other places. John Solomon, all right, who runs a Just the News outfit, he's way ahead on this story. I want to give him credit, okay? But this is a very frightening story that all of this money and the state of California, the largest state in the union, has been co-opted by these people, and no one knows about it.
Well, look, I think that you're right about the numbers. I actually had them in the monologue. I took them out because it's, for me, not about left-right politics. It's about fundamentalism, and it's about these groups being susceptible to much more radical tendencies than just a teachers' union. And that's my concern, is that I see a common link. It is not a coincidence that that guy who shot up the Israeli embassy is in line with Singham's groups. And I think that fundamentalism is being funded there. I think it's being funded by our enemies, China, Russia, others. And I think that that's the big enemy. And I don't know why we're making up fights between left and right when there's someone who wants to kill all of them.
Okay. All right, but let's advance the story and forget about the cranks. Now, let's go to the Middle East because this is hot. There's going to be a negotiation this weekend between Witkoff and the mullahs. This is the last chance. Trump does not want to participate in the bombing of Iran. He's made that clear.
Can I ask you one quick thing? Can you help me understand one quick thing? I like Witkoff from what I know about him. I'm not saying this in any disrespectful way. We don't have anybody more plugged in to the politics, the history, the culture, and you know, the themes than a guy who does commercial real estate in New York who just knows Trump.
Well, he's got a good staff, Witkoff, and he's a very good negotiator. So I don't know him personally. I've never met him. But I know the structure that he's operating under, and I don't have any problem with it. He presents a case pretty well. But here's what the American public needs to know. Trump does not want to bomb Iran, okay?
Good.
Because that upends everything. It upends the China deal, it upends Ukraine, it upends the worldwide economy, it creates terrorism, the Abraham Accords would then be tougher to get. It's
going to create terror attacks here at home.
It would do, the unintended consequences would be staggering of it. There is no plan B. The mullahs are going to have to stop. Now, whether they will or not, if I had to bet tonight, I would say they will. There will be a deal. Because once the military thing is in motion, that's the end of Tehran. They're through. It's not going to be like a pat. It's going to be boom. Ports are going to go, nuclear facilities going to go, and the Persians are going to starve, literally starve. So if the mullahs want to go and commit suicide, then they won't make the deal. I'm betting they don't want to commit. They always take it up to the brink. But this time, with Israel ready to go right now, that's why you, and good reporting tonight, Cuomo, good for you, good for you. And if people are watching the other networks, you're not going to get close to what's being put out to you here. The British know that if this doesn't work this weekend, then all hell is going to break loose. And they have to alert their shipping. All right, everybody has to alert because it could happen.
You know what I'm worried about is, and I don't want to see this happen, I hope Witkoff is successful. Again, in no way am I trying to disparage the guy. I hope it goes well. I'm just saying it's a weird fit. But you're going to have this perverse situation. You do something to Iran, and these same psycho radicals that believe they have some connection to the people in Gaza are going to take up the cause of that theocracy in Iran. And we're going to have violence all over the place in America of people, people pleading the case for people they don't even know.
If you look at the numbers that came out on the anti-ICE, they're infinitesimal. Nobody came out. There's no organic, as that's your word. It's not George Floyd. Nobody came out.
Oh, no, not even
and
close.
At 9 o'clock in New York City,
right.
Very few people came out. In New York City, the epicenter of left-wing politics, okay? About 1,000 people showed up in Foley Square, and by 9 o'clock, they all went home to watch
You're totally
NewsNation.
Right. You're totally right.
Yeah,
I don't know about
I
that.
know.
But
And I
you're
usually
totally right.
am,
But
by
it
the
only
way.
takes one guy. It only takes one guy
I
to
know,
do
but
something
you've
stupid.
got to report the story. You got to report the story in context. And I would tell Congresswoman Luna, who I don't know, you're really good at presenting the case, but you need to broaden it out a little bit. So on the China front, I know what's going on because I'm right in the middle of it. I talked to these people face to face for almost 3 hours. I know what's going on there, and I'm not little Bo Peep. I know what they're doing, but it's containable, and there's no plan B. Either détente or chaos. That's it.
Gotcha.
And Trump, to his credit, understands that big picture. So let's all band together and hope that we get a deal with China, that the mullahs pull back. What do they need to enrich uranium? For what? You don't need it.
To kill us.
Nobody's going to attack
That's
you.
why. They need it to kill us.
Well, okay,
That's
but
why.
If that's the case, then we have to take them out.
No question.
Right?
Well, I don't know how you do it, but you certainly can't let them get a bomb. BillO'Reilly.com, if you want the context and the deep dive on what's happening here and how it is all connected. He's got a good piece out on it, and there's going to be more to come. Bill, thank you for making your witness tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.